Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Today we are doing spooky, creepy, mysterious. We are going to be starting with a very wet background because we are going to be doing multiple steps to this background. So go ahead, grab your big mop brush to fill in as much as you can with water, avoiding the center of the lamp light, but everything else you can just go to town with water. And I traced the lamppost in and then just kind of drew in where my birds were going to be, and then I just filled that in afterwards. But if you feel like you need to trace all of it, by all means go ahead and do so. You can trace before or after, either one, it doesn't matter. Just make sure if you're tracing after, you keep a spot open for where your light's going to be. And I will put in the notes which tracing paper to use with each method to help you out. So I'm using Payne's Gray from Dr. P.H. Martin, of course. And if you know me, if you've taken my classes, you know this is my absolute favorite paint of all time. I love Payne's Gray. There's so much you can do with it, and it's just a perfect color for this spooky, mysterious, foggy vibe. So once you get the water down and you get your Payne's Gray, I went ahead and I am dropping in just water right now. It helps keep that bloom. And I apologize for that background. That is my ice maker, and it is making happy eyes for me. So I put in some water to create those blooms, and now I'm filling in a little bit more Payne's Gray in between, and it's just part of creating that kind of foggy, spooky vibe. So you just kind of manipulate it until you get it to the point that you want. I want it to be darker up in the top left hand corner, for a couple of reasons. One, that's where my tree is going to be, so I want to give it kind of that soft background before I add the tree in. And also the lamppost is going to be breaking through that fog a little bit, so I want it to be a little bit lighter around the lamppost anyways, because we're going to be adding that light. For this one, we are only using 3 colors. We have Payne's Gray, we have the Gamboge Yellow, and then I'm using the black, all from Dr. P.H. Martin. So this is a fun one for Halloween, and also if you're limited on a budget and you only can get a couple of colors, this is an easy one because it's 3 colors. So I went and dabbed the paper towel or my rag to create that moon. And then I just took my clean wet brush to do kind of spirals around there just to kind of give it a soft moon glow. It's a very subtle effect. I'm not looking for this big moon glow, just kind of a soft focus point. And I was really struggling with getting that circle just right. So I will fix that later on with bleed proof white, but I just wanted to have that spot there. And then I am just adding more of the Payne's Gray. I am just kind of brushing this in haphazardly. There's no rhyme or reason. I am going for messy. And again, concentrating on the left-hand side. And you can tell just now how it's already creating that cool, creepy tree effect there. And then once you're done with that, of course, you've got to let it dry, because if you try to do this part afterwards, and it's not dry, it's just going to bleed and bloom all over the place and it's going to create a mess. So I am putting in the tree branches. I have my little bird sketches in the background. You probably can't see it from the screen, but I can see it from where I am at. So I am just creating these branches around the birds, just filling it in. I'm kind of doing a drag effect with the brush to help pull that branch across. Look at the tan line on my thumb. That is annoying me. I wear a thumb ring. I don't know why I'm not wearing it today, but there's just a big old tan line right there. I don't have that tan line anymore because it is the end of October right now as I am recording the audio. I filmed this months ago. I am usually 4 to 6 months at least ahead with my videos, especially seasonal stuff, because I like to jam pack my holiday videos in, and it's just no way to do as many videos in real time as I actually want to have posted. So I have to start planning these way out in advance. So as I was painting this, it was probably like 90 degrees outside. But right now the trees are almost bare and it is chilly and windy and it is definitely spooky fall vibes right now in real life. So I'm loving it. And I'm just continuing on with the black, carbon black, filling it in, just putting a lot of branches, just kind of doing this wispy bare branch look to give it that kind of cool, creepy effect. And of course, making sure I fill in where my birds are. This is why it's nice to have the birds in first, because you can have the gap in the branches where the birds are, which, the birds are going to be black anyway, so it's not necessary, but it just kind of it forces you to really put the branches in a way that makes sense instead of just trying to create this aesthetic branch. I don't know if that made any sense. I'm putting more trees in the background, and now that you can see the branches coming in, you can kind of see how that background is lending to it. I just love this effect with these trees. I could do this all day long. I want to paint more paintings like this. It is just such a fun and easy way to do this cool, creepy vibe. And every time you do it, it's just going to be different. So, I mean, it even looks like more trees in the background that are just swaying in the wind. It's just such a fun effect. So, as I'm filling this in, I'm doing a smaller tree in the background. I watered down this black a little bit just so it's not as bold as the one in the front. I just want it to look like it's a little bit more off in the distance, so it is a little bit lighter. And I'm just going to keep filling this in where I feel like it needs it. And of course, to put a tree where the birds are, because if they're sitting down in the air, they've got to be sitting on something. So here I am putting in some of my crows. I guess you can't really tell that they're crows, they're just silhouettes, but in my head, they are crows and I can hear them. So I'm putting in these crows, having them sit down and stuff. And you can certainly trace this if you are like, I just cannot draw these birds. I'm doing some kind of soft, light, tiny ones in the background. Just that kind of technique we used back in grade school, just the little V's and the upside down V's to just look like birds in the background. It works in real life. So I just filled it up because I just want it to look like there's a lot of crows, because it's got to be spooky, almost Alfred Hitchcock-esque. So putting some trees on the right here, it just felt like it needed it. It was very left heavy, so I wanted to put a little bit more branches on the right. So that will help with that. So are you guys dressing up for Halloween? I want to know, are your kids dressing up for Halloween? My daughter, who's 3, is going to be a Little Red Riding Hood. And my son, who is 16, is going to be the Big Bad Wolf. He's almost 17. But I love that he still dresses up for his sister. He likes doing things with her. It is so cute. He is the best big brother to her, and he just dotes on her all day long whenever he can. So when I asked him if he wanted to dress up with his sister for Halloween, he didn't even hesitate and said, yeah, absolutely. So, and I asked, do you want to be the big bad wolf, or do you want to do your own thing? And he went with the wolf because his sister's Little Red Riding Hood. So he's excited. I'm excited. I can't wait to take pictures of them. It is next week. I cannot believe it. I am recording this literally the day I'm posting this. So when you see this posted, it's the day I'm recording this. So next week is Halloween. I am so excited because I just love living in New England, especially this time of year. It just, after living in warm weather for 45 years where Halloween never felt like Halloween, I cannot get enough of it. I mean, I'm literally looking outside my window right now, and the leaves are blowing in the wind. There's leaves on the floor. There's orange and red and green leaves everywhere. It's just so Halloween-ish. It's funny because I don't even really decorate this now for Halloween. I used to go crazy decorating. I don't decorate because it kind of doesn't need it. It's just the vibe. And it's just really cool. I have some pumpkins around the house, and I took my daughter to the pumpkin patch the other day. The weather was beautiful, and we just went to the farm down the street to go to the pumpkin patch, and she picked out her perfect pumpkin that she's been carrying around ever since. It's really cute. So I missed the part where I put in the yellow I kind of put the birds in and then went put the yellow into the lamppost, and now I'm back to the birds. But the yellow is a gamboge. You, of course, just want to leave that little spot in the middle for the glow of the light, which usually you see this white in the middle. And I did wet on wet for that. So just did a little band of water around that circle and then just added a touch of gamboge. Nothing major. We're going to be painting the black of the lamppost over that. So I don't need it to be a perfect circle. But that is just what I did. And now I'm adding a couple more of the tiny birds. I mean, just go to town with the birds. You need a lot of birds for this. Just think Alfred Hitchcock. It is just, we want the crows. So I love crows. I love ravens. I want a pet raven. It is something I've always wanted. And I love how intelligent they are as birds. There are tons of crows out now too, which is just like I said, it's just the vibe. We've got the vibe here in New England. Is very much a cool, almost a Hallmark Halloween movie. That's what it feels like here. So for the lamppost, I am doing the black, and I'm adding the little curlies at the end because this lamppost is a little ethereal. It is not your typical lamppost. And then what I'm doing is I'm leaving that gap in there where you can see I'm not painting the black because once it dries, I'm going to go ahead and add just a watered down black there so that it creates that three-dimensional effect to the lamppost. So I put the black down first, and then I just kind of add the water to just soften that black up, and it'll make sense when you see it. I'm not the greatest at explaining things. I'm definitely a visual, so hopefully it makes sense once you see it. So now I'm just adding some curliness to the lamppost, which sounds really weird. Again, not great at explaining things, but here you can see what I'm doing. I'm not looking for the perfect shaped lamppost. This is certainly not photorealism. We're going for whimsical. So I'm adding the black lamppost, but I'm also going to be adding some it's going to look like the dried vines growing up around it. So I know I keep talking about living here in New England. So we had vines growing up our back porch, like all up the trellis and stuff. And now, of course, they've died because it is cold. But it is now got that creepy, it's just branches crawling up the the trellis in our backyard. Like I said, I don't have to decorate. It's the perfect decoration for Halloween. So that's kind of what we're going for here, is just vines that have died. They grew around this lamppost and now they have died. Or it's just a lamppost that's, got a little bit of organic material coming out of it, which is creepier, right? So I'm using my tiniest brush to do this. If you're not great with the fine lines for the brush, by all means, use a black marker with a fine point. You do not have to torture yourself to try to get a perfect tip to the brush. I am a firm believer in making your life easy and getting the result in the paintings that you can in any way you can. Unless you are submitting this for a contest, which you can't anyways because you're copying it at this point, then there's no point in making your life more difficult. So by all means, feel free to use a marker if it makes it easier, or if you're not sure how you feel, if you can do the fine lines with the brushes, then take your small brush and use a scratch paper and try it out a little bit and see how you do with it. You might be a mix of both. Like I could do some of them with the brush and maybe do some of the finer ones with the marker. Now in my case, I can actually get a much thinner line with my brush and then I can with a marker. So if you're not at that point yet, don't worry, you will get there. It just takes practice. And also it does help to have the right brush. So Princeton makes some really great small and fine line brushes. They hold up really well. I will link those in the description as well so that you have that there. They're just kind of nice to have in general. I mean, I use them a lot for eye detail when I'm doing pet portraits or people portraits, things like this, branches, anything small. Really fantastic. And like I said, I can get a much smaller line with this, a much finer line with this than I can with a marker. So See how it has that creepy cool look? So at this point, you know, obviously you're going to finish off the lamp post. Now, when you do the lines down the center over the yellow part, you don't want them to be as stark of a black as you've been using, because that glow is going to be reflecting onto the black lining, the trim of the lamppost. So I watered down my black just a touch so that it is not like this bam black. You want it to be a little bit, you want it to pick up that yellow a little bit to help create that glow through that lamppost. So if you can see here, I am so sorry. My ice maker is just like, we're making all the ice right now. It was quiet for the last 2 hours and now it's just making all the ice. And yes, I do have an ice maker in my art studio. I'm in my art studio. The one thing I had in my art studio first was my coffee bar and my ice maker. Those are the two most important things before I had my paint table and everything else. I don't know if you could see, you might have to zoom in a little bit to see how it's much lighter in the middle where the glow is versus the black towards the edge. That just helps with the glow. And then I'm going to just make sure I have all the birds in place that I want to be there. I'm going to also then grab my bleed proof white. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of the bleed proof white from, of course, Dr. P.H. Martin. And they don't endorse me to always talk about them. I do get them wholesale now, but they don't pay me to endorse them as much as I do. I just really do love Dr. P.H. Martin. It's what I pretty much use all the time. So I am going to grab the bleed proof white and fix the moon. And also I'm going to put some highlights on to the lamppost. At first I wasn't going to. I'm looking at it now. I'm really glad I did because it just really, I don't know, it just kind of really made the lamppost stick out. So I'm using the bleed proof white to make my moon more moon shaped and not egg shaped. If you struggle with circles, you are not alone. I do too. So see how these little highlights here are just, they just really, I think it just really gives it that nice finishing touch. Just the glow of the moon. You don't have to do this part, especially if you don't have bleed proof white, but I just thought it was a nice final touch to the piece. So just add it wherever you feel like it needs. Take one last look at your painting, of course, see if there's anything missing. But let me know what you think. Did you try this? Did you love it? Are you into Halloween? Do you have any special requests coming up? Leave them in the comments, of course, because I love putting together videos for people that they're like, this is what I need. That's what I want to do. So let me know. Take a look at your final painting. Tag me if you do it yourself. And have a wonderful Halloween.